What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or GameOverJesse as some of y'all may know me, and here with me on the Zelda mailbag for the week of March 5th is Holly Wolf returning for the 1000th time. And, of course, as always, we have Daniel to answer your Zelda questions that you sent in. If you want your question answered on our next video, comment them below, and we will try to get to as many as possible. You can also at us on the Twitter or join our Discord group. But this time we have so many questions. Daniel, what do we do if we have too many questions?
I'm sorry, guys. We can't answer them all.
What can they do to guarantee their question be answered?
They can't. No, there's this wonderful thing called Patreon. Okay, so you do that, the Patreon, and we will make sure
you do that.
You're currently guaranteed to answer, but they're always the first ones we answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Always the first ones, and it's usually the title of the video too. So
yes, we not only does it guarantee your question to be answered, but it also gets your question to be the titled question for the video and the first questions to be answered. So if you want your question to be guaranteed to be on the show, patreon.com/GameOverJesse.
I also patronize your questions, no pun intended.
Yes.
A lot less.
So
I'm far less mean about the questions if they come from Patreon. So.
Yes. So if you want to be awesome, like Gus did, head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where he asks, which are your favorite Zelda amiibo from Breath of the Wild?
That's a good question. Because especially me, I'm like the amiibo collector.
I say Ocarina of Time, because I think it not only does it give you the Hero of Time outfit, which isn't my favorite. I like the Twilight Princess Link outfit, but it gives you the Tunic of Time, but I think it also gives you Epona.
Yep. No, that's Smash Link. Gives you Epona.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can get the big Goron sword.
Yes, yes. Okay, so that's why, because it gives you the big Goron sword, which theoretically should be twice as strong as the Master Sword.
Yeah, it should. It should do, but like, would that be 60 or 120 damage then?
120.
Yeah, because I guess the fully powered Master Sword.
Yeah,
then.
so then...
Oh, it
is also the focus of one of the only side quests in Ocarina of Time. So that is my favorite. Now, I will say, thinking of that, I did, for some reason, think that you also get Epona with that. But that aside, that's still my favorite.
I'm sorry that you were wrong and I had to embarrass you.
It's okay.
You're no longer welcome on the podcast.
Nice. My Zelda knowledge.
What's your
favorite
poison?
Amiibo? It's the Mario amiibo that just gives you fruit.
Ooh, num num num. No, I think I like Midna and Wolf Link, because you get Wolf Link.
Yeah.
So that's
very handy.
Yeah, and it's super dope. I love having that. And not for what you get, but I love the Guardian amiibo, just because it's like so huge and pretty.
You don't like riding on top of the Guardians?
That's not what you get for the Guardian.
It gives you the mini Guardians. You can like put it in your stable and everything.
I don't have it, so I don't actually know. Does it do this?
No, it doesn't. But there was an April Fool's video last year from GameSpot.
That's what I was referring to.
Oh, okay. So we see the same video.
Like, yeah. I have not seen this video. I don't have that amiibo. No, I want to get it, but I just think it's super cute.
You had to like cook all the different
the dragon scales and the giant ancient core.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was
and then you could make the Guardian key, and then you could pilot one, which would be cool, actually, but driving a tank.
Yeah. Alright.
We got a motorcycle.
But yes, so we have Ocarina of Time, we have the Guardian amiibo.
Wolf Link.
And Wolf Link.
And Guardian. I really like the Guardian amiibo as well, for looks. As far as from what you get in the game, this is hard. Because usually what I do is I'll stand there by my shelf of amiibos with my controller, and I will just scan all of them.
You're just like, man, I'm so cool. I got all these amiibos.
Yes. I don't need your judgment.
I don't need your judgment.
I counted. I have like over 60 amiibo. I'm
Wow.
very proud of it. I've got them all organized on my shelves. Check it out on my Instagram, please. Someone follow me on Instagram.
Oh yes,
Please.
Gustavo, the person whose question we are answering is also in the chat right now. So.
Oh, hello!
Yes.
I'm
Follow me on
satisfied with
Instagram.
my answers.
But gosh, you know, like RPG, who shows up in the chat a lot. He
He has 60 amiibo.
commented on one of my Instagram pictures, and I was like, well, damn, it's that guy. So that
Who
was
was it?
nice. I think RPG, who shows up in the chat a lot.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
here earlier, I believe.
Where'd he go?
He got bored.
He got things to do, man. He's
Come
got
back,
life.
RPG. So
All right.
I really like that you can get an Epona from Smash Link, because I always use Epona. She's my best horse. I just wish you could change her gear, but you can't. I don't know, man. I don't have a good answer.
Here.
I like the champion amiibos, just because they look great as a little set, and they all give you awesome gear. That's my answer.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right, Holly, do you want to take us to our next question since you are the guest?
But
Oh.
choose wisely.
I was gonna choose Miss Clicks from Twitter because I like this one. If you could revisit any side character's storyline in Zelda to add more content, quests, depth to the games, who would you visit and why? Or I guess like what world?
The Cuckoo
Yeah.
Lady from Ocarina of Time.
Why?
I don't know. It was a joke. I don't know.
Why just?
I'm gonna
It
have
was
to
not
think
a
about
joke.
this. Because she gives you the bottles. She just has bottles to give away. Do you know how many fairies she probably has? Those glass jars? How much milk she can carry?
All the milk. All the milk.
If you could revisit any side character storyline in Zelda to add more content, quests, depth.
More champions. Give me more of the
Yeah,
champions.
more champions.
Give me like a day in the life of Mifa.
Day in the
Oh,
life of
Dopa
Mifa.
Dog.
Yo, I would watch that.
So when she was
Mifa's not my
alive,
favorite champion, but I still love her.
with baby Sidon,
With
like
baby
when she
Sidon?
was like actually, like before she went off. Mifa, yeah, Mifa's cute.
Yeah, I like Mifa.
We have people in the
Roots,
chat
still my
that would
favorite.
say a day in the life of Ravioli.
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 Yes, Ravioli. He's named
Good
after.
old Ravioli.
He's Italian. Revali is what Ashley's saying in the chats. RPGs being a bit active. No, I would say if we're choosing Breath of the Wild, I have a suspicion that what's his name? The mask salesman.
Oh, yeah.
Is
What?
the
Kilton?
mask salesman. Yeah, Kilton.
Kilton?
So I have
Kilton.
a suspicion that Kilton
Weirdo.
is. This is like headcanon. And I think this is even disproven in the game because there's a mother in the game that tells you it's her son. But my suspicion is that Kilton is really the Happy Mask salesman. And
He
that
got
in the same
shorter.
way when you wear the Deku mask, or in Majora's Mask when you put on any of the masks, the people believe you are that character.
Yeah.
So like the Deku Butler's son, when you put his mask on, they say you resemble him. When you put on Maku, however you pronounce his name, the Zora, everyone else is like, hey, what are you doing? We got practice.
Hey, man.
Get your guitar. Come on.
You're like trying to save the world. They're like, come on, man. They got band practice.
We got a show to do.
Yeah. So like, they believe you are them. So in my head canon, the Happy Mask salesman came across a dying whatever his name
Weirdo.
was. I forgot his name.
Kilton.
Yeah, Kilton came across a dying Kilton, puts on the mask, and that's why all of a sudden the mom's like, why has my son suddenly got an obsession with all of this dark stuff? Because in my headcanon, it's not her son, it's not Kilton, it's the Happy Mask Salesman wearing the Kilton mask.
That's messed up.
But that's
I love that when in Majora's Mask, when you wear the Goron mask, you talk to the other Gorons, they're like, Darmani, aren't you dead? Yeah, well, whatever. That's cool. Are you supposed to be dead? Okay, well, anyways, welcome back.
Welcome back. We missed you, bro.
They're all very accepting of it. I thought you died, man. It's good to have you back. So, yeah, that's Kilton is a good choice because we don't learn very much about him either. I didn't know that you met his mother in the game.
Yeah, I'll Google this while you give yours. But I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah, you do. I think you do.
I did. I still choose the champions.
Champions?
Holly, who do you choose?
I don't know, actually.
Choose!
Choose.
Or I'll choose 4 more characters.
Four more characters? Oh my goodness.
I will do it. I will choose 4 more characters.
No, I don't know, man.
Okay, I'm
trying to think. I'm trying to think if I'm sticking to Breath of the Wild or like other.
Yeah, whatever. Choose any Zelda game, any Zelda character. I was gonna say Midna, but I kind of like the champions too much.
Yeah, well, Midna would be good, but like she's pretty. Yeah.
Midna's very fleshed out in Twilight Princess, though. That's the thing. But I guess because they have 1 instead of 4, they like, and she's pretty much the protagonist of the game. She's very well fleshed out.
Yeah.
That's why she's such a fan favorite. She good. But people want to know what happened after, so. Yeah,
true. Maybe, I don't know why, but I'm drawing a fucking blank right now. Birdman, accordion.
All right.
Oh, Cass.
I choose that one soldier in Castle Town.
I don't know why I'm like one soldier, that guy. Okay. I would like more stuff with Cass because like.
So I could have sworn there is an NPC in one of the villages that mentions being worried about her son, Kilton. But I could be imagining things.
Oh, really? Let me try.
There are millions of NPCs.
Like maybe Kilton is the Happy Mask Salesman, and he's just old and decrepit and just weird. Like, you know, he just lives forever.
So there are NPCs in Breath of the Wild that literally disappear and appear as you're like walking down trails.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
So like there are literally countless, infinite amounts of NPCs in Zelda because they can just pop in at any time. But in one of the village, I could have sworn at one point there was someone that was like, "Hey, this is Kilton's," or not Kilton. She didn't say it, but she's worried about her son who has an interest in selling this stuff.
Oh, okay.
But then they could have just been like Beetle's mom. Because he sells stuff.
What if there's
True.
what's her name? Jaren at the Akala Tech Lab. Is that who you're thinking of? So she has a son who's traveling that she mentions. Jaren and Robbie, they have a son together. So he's a Sheikah, though, as well. A young Sheikah guy.
Oh.
And then you can find him. He'll go to Tari Town once it's finished.
That very racist town.
Tari Town is not a racist town. It's the least racist town. It has the most diversity of any town.
It's like racist in the way that guy, what's his name?
Hudson?
Yeah, he's like, I can only have people living in my town if their last name
is Ashley. Ashley in the chat says, "Isn't that Robbie's wife?"
Policy.
Yeah, you're thinking of Gantz from Terrytown.
Yes, that's his name.
And then Gibbs also says Gantz or Gante.
What a name!
There should have been, like, Dampé should have been, or Dampé should have been somewhere. And like he was probably the one that gives you the hook shot. That Nintendo took out the hook shot, so they were like, "Well, we don't need Dampé now. Let's get rid of him.
We don't need this guy."
Just
that would have been a nice throwback.
Yeah, just like the Koroks. Like We don't have a Korok champion now, so let's just get rid of all of the... No, Kokiri. That's it. Kokiri champion.
Kokiri champion. But we did at least have Dampé and A Link Between Worlds.
You had Dampé.
I had a friend who, every time he was insulting someone, he'd be like, "You're a Goomba." And I always thought that was the funniest insult, because it's like, at one point you're like, "What? Did he call me a Goomba?" And then you actually think about what a Goomba is, and you're like, "I can't believe he called me a Goomba. That is very hurtful."
Yeah.
It is very hurtful.
All right.
Terrible thing to say.
Daniel, take us to our third question.
Okay.
Did you already have one picked out?
I did, and I forgot what it was. So, this one's a funny one. I'm actually not going to choose a funny one. I like this question better. Champion of Morrowind says, "Would you like Nintendo to make Breath of the Wild?" Hey, buddy, how you doing in the chat there? Champion of Morrowind, you asked us, would you like Nintendo to make a Breath of the Wild a complete reboot to the Zelda timeline? They could make a Zelda much more lore-heavy franchise and not have certain games contradict each other lore-wise. So essentially, are we in favor of Breath of the Wild rebooting the timeline, or fitting in somewhere?
It would be more of like a soft reboot, because it uses so much from past Zelda games that it can't really completely start over, because you still have the connection to all of the stuff before. But like, as a soft reboot, I could see them doing that. But then, like, I think with, was it Skyward Sword, Nintendo said they had the idea to do that with that game, and instead of calling it The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, in the same way they call it New Super Mario Brothers, they were thinking of calling it New The Legend of Zelda, to like end
so glad they didn't do that
and start fresh. So I think Nintendo had that idea before with what would have been New Legend of Zelda, but no, that was The Link Between Worlds, I think, was what they wanted to do.
Oh.
It was one of those two.
I think A Link Between the Worlds started as like A Link to the Past 2, though, right?
Yeah, this is another thing I'm going to fact check on Google.
All right. Well, I remember a while back there was some theories that Breath of the Wild was going to be like a remake or reimagining of The Legend of Zelda, like the original NES Legend of Zelda. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was a cool concept, because there's not a lot of people who would play that game, so much in the same way of like Metroid Samus Returns, where Metroid 2 is, say, maybe a little dated. People don't hate me. Maybe a little dated, a little hard or unbearable to play, so they remake the game or reimagine it in a way that makes it more catered to a modern audience, and then people can play that sort of missing chapter in the story. Mm-hmm. So in the same way, you remake Zelda 1 on the scope of Breath of the Wild, which is massive, because Zelda 1 was also a huge, massive, sprawling world at the time, back in the 80s. Like that, this was like a mind-blowing thing. So, but having actually a proper map goes a long way. I think that still would have been a really cool idea. But there are still people who hold on to that idea, and it's so not true, because the story is really not the same at all in Breath of the Wild. So, whoops. Yeah.
So I looked it up, and I think it was during an Iwata Asks for A Link Between Worlds. They said where it was the first game that they were trying to break the conventions of Zelda, where they were like moving away from the traditional formula to create a new formula. They thought about calling it New Legend of Zelda. So glad they did it.
Okay. Yes, that's a terrible naming convention, and they need to stop doing that. So,
All right.
Because New Super Mario Bros. Is 12 years old, and that's not new anymore. So, what do you do now?
I think each of us will take two more questions each. So that's 3 questions for everybody. And then we will end with 1 or 2 questions from the people watching in the chat. So we'll try to get through these questions, but my question that I'm picking comes from May the Triforce Guide You, who is also new and popular in the Discord. They say, are the Twilight Realm and Terminator connected?
Terminator.
So,
Baby, I'm going to Terminator.
there is the theory that the ancient tribe that created Majora's Mask also created the mask from the Twilight Mask.
Yeah.
And like if you can even put them together, and like the symbols, like the way the eyes are made on the mask look very similar to each other. They're both said to be made by an ancient dark tribe. From what Alnuma tells us, the person who created both games, Termina is a real place. Terminator is a real place, like we discussed earlier. So since they are both in fact real places, it would make sense that the same tribe could venture to both places. So yeah, that's... If there is a connection, I imagine that is the strongest connection, that the same tribe could have possibly made the same masks. So yeah.
I agree.
All right. Glad we all can agree on Link being dead. Next question, Holly.
What did I just agree to?
I'm reading this from Game Over Time Hero, and it says...
that was from the Game Over Takeover.
Yeah, Mines. Shadow Temple, here lies Hyrule's history of greed and hatred.
Oh, I think that was a section of the other question.
Yeah, I'm like...
Yeah. Let's see. Yes, the question above it. So that's like a continuation of... Ashley asked what a favorite quote in the Zelda series.
This should have actually... So,
like, for example, you met with a terrible fate, have you?
I need to clarify. Ashley should have had her question read at the very beginning with Gus's.
A Patreon.
Because she is also a Patreon member.
Oh,
but
there you go.
She asked this question on Discord. So it was lumped in with the Discord question. So I apologize.
Womp womp.
Favorite quotes. Okay.
But your question
Here we were just talking about it.
Yeah, and your question was so good that Daniel chose it anyways. Or no, sorry. Holly chose it.
Well, yeah, because I was just kind of like, this is a statement. What's going on here? This is a quote. So, Mine would be, you've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? Because Majora's Mask is my favorite game in the series, and it's just so dark and wonderful, and the music is the best.
I just noticed how big your headphones are.
Oh, you did?
Are really big. Look at what tiny boys.
Yeah, but they...
I thought mine were huge.
No, they take my whole ear, so it doesn't hurt.
It's my favorite part of a woman. The ear.
Yeah, their ears. Yeah. Oh,
okay.
So Game Over Ashley says, Game Over Jesse, King Burgerson, for the next podcast, what is one of your favorite quotes in the Zelda series? Like, for example, you've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? Gibbs replied, I included these because it was interesting. He says, hey, listen, hey, Navi, circa 1998. And then Game Over Time Hero, which is what you were mentioning, says, Mines, Shadow Temple, here lies Hyrule's history of greed and hatred, which I think is a very dark quote for an otherwise... Like, if you take out the Shadow Temple, Ocarina of Time is a lot more cheerful.
Yeah.
Yes. Same with Bottom of the Well. Keep that out of there.
Oh, that was just nightmares for me.
Right. So
when I was really little,
well, the Deku Tree was also nightmares for me, so...
Oh, the first time I played Ocarina of Time as a kid, I can't remember how old I was, but
2.
When I came out of Temple of Time, I wasn't 2. This is when I was 2. I was playing A Link to the Past.
Parents are letting them play these games at 2 years old. What's going on here?
But I remember I came out of the Temple of Time, and then I saw like the Redeads in Castletown, and I got so freaked out. I hid behind my couch. That
was not a good time for me.
So, and I told my brother, because my brother's older than me, so I told him, I was like, you have to get me out of here, please. Just kill these bad guys and run away from me. And I hid behind the couch, and they all laughed at me.
Nice.
All 3. I have 3 older brothers. They all laughed at me.
How rude.
Very rude. I love, but so rude.
All right. Yeah, my favorite quote is the "You've met with a terrible fate." I think that has like such a small sentence, and it's told to you so early in the game. I think it's one of the first things that he actually says to you.
It is the first thing Happy Mask Salesman says to you.
And like, you don't realize it at the time because you're still trying to figure out the story, but after you beat the game, you come to know the characters and everything that's going on. When you look back at that, for it to be the first thing that he says to you, there is so much meaning and depth to that one statement. Like, I don't know what the direct translation from the Japanese text would be, but the English translators or the English script writing staff, whoever came up with that line, I think did an amazing job. And then the other one about the Shadow Temple, that Time Hero, Game Over Time Hero from everyone changed their name in the Discord group to Game Over, whatever their name was, and they called it the Game Over Takeover. And
Game Over Burgers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to call my burger review show. So.
Game Over Burgers.
Game Over Burgers.
Yeah, I'll try to think of a different one from that, but I would say that mine is the Happy Mask Salesman's quote. I don't quite agree with Gibbs with all the quotes from Navi.
Hey, Navi, listen, that's, Midna has a lot of good quotes, too. Midna's got good ones. There's one here that's really nice. It's "Some call our realm a world of shadows, but that makes it sound so unpleasant. The twilight there holds a serene beauty. You have seen it yourself as the sun sets on this world." That's nice.
Is that what David says to Link? Is his name
David?
David?
Or is it Daniel?
Midna says that.
That's Midna says
David?
That.
Who's David?
During the beginning of Twilight Princess.
Pingle's brother.
I think his name might actually be Daniel.
David. Russell.
So, Russell, okay. I knew he had like one of those names. So
yeah, but it's spelled weird. Russl. So it's not like Russell, like Russell. It's like Russell. Russell.
Yeah. So at the beginning, during the intro, he and Link are sitting there watching the sunset while they're talking, and he gives a really good quote to Link. So,
it's like something about the world.
Almost the same thing that Holly said.
And Skyward Sword, when Zelda's like, "When all of this is over, will you come and wake me up?" That one's good. That's just, like, so sad.
His head, like, it starts out with, "Tell me something. Do you ever feel a strange sadness as night falls?"
Oh, yeah.
And then he continues with, like, a longer paragraph, but that's how it starts out. And he's saying the same thing in a different way that Midna is saying. Because Midna tells you, just because, like, essentially just because it's dark or creepy or whatever, doesn't mean it's bad. Yeah. Like, there's good in the darkness, which is the same thing that Russell's telling you. Like, just because it's dark and gloomy doesn't mean you have to look at it or view it as being sad or whatever. So
yeah, exactly.
Good quotes. Go Russell. RUSL. Go Midna.
Mine's a little different. It's also a Twilight Princess quote. This one kind of...
Open the door, Skull Kid.
That's not Twilight Princess. Jeez. Mine is the Postman from... No, I'm kidding. It's actually the Hero Shade. I can't do this.
The Postman. He's like, oh!
Hey, Link! Mr. Link! Okay, so... my quote is from the Hero's Shade. And he says, "A sword wields no strength unless the hand that holds it has courage." And I like that. I like that. Nice. I don't know, it's just simple, to the point. It's the first time you meet him, and he just stands there aggressively, so you try and attack him, and he just, like, beats you to the ground.
Yeah, it's like...
hit. And he's like, don't! Don't you do that! And then he teaches you everything. And there's also, again, it's like, this was the hero of time, so he's been through some stuff. Woo. He's seen some serious shit.
He's seen some shit. I've seen some things, man.
I've seen some things, man. Exactly. So it's their words that are coming from a very, like, experienced, a very wise place, you know? So yeah, I always like that one. I you know, we've talked about the hero shade a lot, but I like that character, so yeah.
Daniel,
All right.
your question.
Yeah, I'm getting a stomach ache. Can we answer like one more? I'm hungry. We've been going for like 3 hours, guys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right. That would be 2 questions. So we're 2 questions each. After this, we'll go back to you, Holly, and you can answer 1 question from the chat because we have to get at least 1 from the live chat.
True.
Everyone in the chat, leave your questions.
Start now.
Make it a good one.
All right. Pick out one, Daniel.
Okay. This comes from Armin. How?